Boxing fans, here with Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, we're here in the Wasserman HQ. Absolutely stunning. Shame it's raining. We'd have been up there. I think some people came just for the cocktails only, but they got disappointed.
We sent the invites out Monday morning, and I just said, lads, ladies, we got to get the media up on the top of the Tower of Power, the Wasserman Tower of Power. The sun is out. It's a summer vibe out there. I want cocktails flowing. I want the full works. Yeah, and I woke up this morning and it was pissing down.
Yeah, I think a few people just came for the cocktails. They were a bit disappointed. But yeah, that's life, I suppose, in the UK.
I haven't had one yet.
I know. You've been busy dealing with those guys, to be honest, so fair play. I'm the last guy, hopefully, in the queue, so you can chill after this. Let's talk about why we're here. Friday night. Keep saying Saturday night. I've been saying Saturday night to a lot of people, but yeah, Friday night we're here, Channel 5.
It is Friday night live on Channel 5, free to air. Yes, people.
First show that you're doing with them in this 5-fight deal in 2022 is what was announced at the time. Just talk to me about this. Let's talk about the card first of all. Well, I don't know.
Multi-fight, I think we said.
Okay.
I don't know. Was it 5? I'm not sure.
I did
multi. Yeah. Well, okay. We'll see.
Yeah, but let's talk about this. First of all, headlining Linus, Udofia and Denzel, Bentley. Great British title fight. Just talk to me about that one.
Well, it's one that obviously we put a large value on because in boxing, purse bids are where you get your pants pulled down. You know, you got to lump it, and you got to do that in public. And we went back and forth with Frank Warren for weeks around the fight. We were both pretty close on how we valued it, and in the end we just said no. Let's set a purse bid in a nice way. There were good negotiations, and they put in a fantastic bid, and we had the luck that ours was just a little bit higher, and now we're promoting this great fight. And I think when you have two larger promoters putting in big offers and they're pretty close to each other, you see the value that you both put on it. And yeah, I'd say we're getting a bang for our buck on Friday night.
I think we talk about that fight. We look at the other fights, are probably not as rated, but or getting overlooked. Look at Ryan Kelly, Brad Paul's great fight for the eliminator for that side.
Well, they're sort of the next in line, isn't it? It's a bit of a factory style system going on Friday, because you've obviously got the big British title fight, Udofia Bentley, and then on the undercard we've got, it's so stacked, the undercard. It's the final eliminator for the title that is being fought on the main event. So, but I've said before, the British title is one of the most honest belts in boxing. You know what it means, you know where you stand when you've got it, and on top of that, it also is the belt where so many world champions have been born out of. You know, it's that first big step. You can talk about Southern Aries, talk about ABAs, you can talk about lots of things as a British fighter. But as a pro, that's the measuring stick, isn't it? That's the measuring stick where you say, okay, I'm going on to European or world titles. You know, that's the point. It's rare that you see someone skip that step.
There's rarely a world champion from the UK who wasn't a British champion.
AJ won the British, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did. Pretty sure, yeah. Went through the British. You know, you see, you got to look all through the sport, and you know, I think that you look through the different belts, and lots of belts out there, and you know, sometimes too many belts out there. But in terms of a measuring stick as a British fighter, it's the best.
I want to talk about Josh Kelly, the return after a little while out after the Avanesian loss. How much of a big coup was this for you to get Josh with Wasserman Boxing? Because we know, and I spoke to Josh today, there was an offer from Eddie to carry on with the Matchroom. He's obviously rejected that, and he's coming with you guys. How much of a big coup was that?
I think he also had a big offer from Boxer on the table and a few others, but at the end, it clicked. And I'll tell you how good a coup it was when he's raised the world title. I think he goes all the way. I really do. I think we just mustn't try and do it in a race. You know, there's no pressure here. Go out, enjoy yourself. If you can put that terminology on boxing. And, you know, he's got everything he needs in terms of the looks, the swagger, the talk. It's why he was being developed on Sky to be the next star on Sky. As simple as that. Yeah.
Did you feel though that the Amunisian fight for him was too early in his career?
It's easy for me to sit here now and say that. I'd say, look, Adam would have signed off on that fight, and Adam knows his stuff. Eddie knows his stuff. Sky know their stuff, and they would have all looked at that fight. And there is a point when you've got to take that step up. I didn't know much about Avanesian before the fight, so it's not fair to point the finger at them. I don't think anyone's fault. I think he might look back at that fight one day and thank them all for choosing Avanesian, because I think it's made him probably. You can also get a little bit carried away with the way you're promoted, and there's that famous old saying, don't believe your own bullshit, yeah? But when you're being promoted at a very fast pace and you're living in the gym and you're coming to media events, you're boxing, the only thing you really hear is what's been said about you and how you're suddenly, hold on, I'm headlining, I'm doing much more media work, I've got a queue of people who want to talk to me, and you start to think you're the champ already. And that, I'm not saying that happened, but that has happened many times in the sport. And I don't know, was it a case of maybe getting ahead of himself? No one, I don't know, only Josh will know that. I don't really care either, to be honest. The only thing I care about is where he is now, what he's learnt out of that. And I think he will make a strong return on Friday. I mean, the opponent, Renozo, he's certainly taking the fight seriously, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Cool. Just want to move away from this card. Just want to talk about one of your fighters, Filip Hrgovic, who's obviously had to pull out a card because of a family situation. Just talk to me about that. We know that you sort of knew that family quite well, and how is Filip? How is everyone else?
Yeah, well, I've known Filip, I think 12 years, yeah, long time, and Father Pero was a great man, a guy, an inspirational light in Filip's life. He was at the first press conference when we announced that Filip was going pro and we were signing him in Zagreb. I remember he had an amazing aura about him, and it was just very, very sad, and it was too close to the fight for even consider fighting, and we're lucky enough that we had the situation where we could move the fight, and we thank Zhang very much for that as well, and we're looking forward to it this summer.
Okay, obviously just wishing Filip and his family, all the best, and hopefully he comes back soon. It's moving on to another one of your fighters, Chris Eubank Jr. We saw with Canelo Alvarez losing to Bivol. You've spoken to in the previous interview where you said, you've got egg on your face because you thought, like a lot of people did, to be honest, that Canelo would win. Obviously,
I thought he'd win early. Yeah, and I know where you're getting to, so I'll cut you short here. It means everything but nothing. So it means everything in terms of that maybe Golovkin is now, potential dance partner. Yeah. But at the same time, it means nothing because Canelo holds the keys to the kingdom ultimately, because he's signed to fight Golovkin and he's signed to fight Bivol in a rematch, and ultimately will come down to that decision, which normally takes 3-4 weeks in boxing. It's a sort of standard rematch clause, which needs to be activated or not. So although it was activated in the ring after the fight by him saying, I want that rematch, if that's not enough, so there's a 4-week space of 3-4 weeks, sometimes it's 6 weeks. But I believe it will be a quick decision. I don't think they'll make the whole time where him and Eddie Reynoso have sat down. I think it'll be just the two of them who make that decision.
Just a quick one for myself, quick 2 questions for myself. You've been in this game for a long time. 2 weekends ago, we saw the most historic female fight to date in Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, and what a fight it was. It's probably fight of the year so far. Great fight. But did you envisage, Kalle, realistically, did you envisage female boxing to become this big and this many eyes to be on it at this point?
You're asking the wrong man. I mean, I was doing female boxing when certain promoters were in their Pampers. But seriously, I mean, we come out of the country which we were promoting in Germany, female boxing a long time ago. I mean, Regina Halmish broke viewing records at over 10 million viewers. Yeah, Cecilia Brækhus promoted all over Scandinavia. Because boxing was illegal in Norway, so we did the whole thing, on Kessler undercards and things, building her up until we got it legalised in Norway. So am I surprised? No. I tell you, the only thing that's changed is female boxing has always been around. We've always had big names. You can go back to a long time ago. It's nothing new. The difference is the depth. So when we had, I'll give you an example, Brækhus, the biggest challenge for our matchmakers was to find the next opponent, because there was 10 people afterwards you could look at, and they were all they wouldn't go around with her, and now you have a situation where it's who can fight who next. It's exciting, and suddenly. I've seen rumours now around who Katie Taylor's fighting. You wouldn't have that before. That's the real difference now, the depth and the talent. And if you look at the uptake of boxing in gyms around the world, it's of course it's still male dominated, but the rise in female boxing on the amateur level. Look at the numbers of the Olympics. Yeah, I mean it's the boom in female boxing isn't in professional boxing, it's in amateur boxing. And the exciting thing for professional boxing is those amateurs will turn pros. So that's really when you want to layer it down. Don't look at Taylor Serrano. That was a flagship event, fantastic, super. Go look at the amateurs, look at the numbers, do the crunching. You want to really research something, go and look at female boxing, look at the amount of girls who are coming through. Not the ones who are at the top now, because I've been doing female boxing 20 years.
Obviously, I know that you've been around for a long time, and just with that answer, you can tell, because people who are just looking at female boxing now saying there's no depth. But from back in the day that there was actually no depth.
I remember we had one opponent. I remember from Cecilia. I remember her. She was. She boxed for the world. She actually put on a decent fight. She got nicked at the airport in Denmark for stealing in duty free on the way back. I mean, it was just. I mean, she got paid quite well for us, but you can see there was no sport to make money. You didn't get paid hardly. You'd pay $1,000 for an opponent. It was insane, and that's changed, and that's great, and it's the depth of female talent. But as I said, don't look at that Taylor Serrano. Go and look all the way through to the amateurs and look at the numbers of the Olympics. Look at the numbers of the Olympics, and I'm telling you, if it goes this way, in 5 years it'll be 50-50 between the men and the females at the Olympics.
Jake Paul was a big part of that show, obviously promoting Serrano. What do you make of Jake? Because he came up as his YouTuber, everyone was like, he's this kid that's on the scene, he's going to go soon. Now he's promoting, he seems to be staying, calling out Canelo, calling out whoever he wants.
I put out quite a famous soundbite where I said, when a certain reporter asked me, have you heard of Jake Paul, and he's fighting Floyd Mayweather, and I said, yeah, what a nut job. But at the same time, he's stuck about, hasn't he? Compared to bubble gum on your shoe, but no, in his case, he has started to sort of make me laugh, and he seems to be really pushing himself in the sport as a fighter. To put himself, though, that in 3 years he's fighting Canelo, I don't know what he's taking, but it must be something good. That's just ridiculous. But hey, we've all got to have our inspirations and goals. Maybe in 3 years he's talking about another Canelo. I don't know. I've got no idea. But as a promoter, him promoting the sport, why not? I mean, he's got a reach that no other promoter has. Let's face it. He's big on his virtual, social, whatever world. That's not, though, really a boxing crowd. The interesting part is how much of his net can he bring in for us as the boxing community and really make them watch boxing. I've heard his shows haven't done as well as we've been made out that they have done. I don't know what's true there or not. I don't believe it. I think he seems like a funny fella, but I reserve judgment.
This final one, Tyson Fury, whether it's in jest or whether it's reality, has announced his retirement. What do you make of that? Do you feel like he's just doing what Floyd Mayweather did a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's not just what Floyd Mayweather did. I think Ali did it a few times. I think I don't think there's been a great who hasn't done it. Tyson is, for me, not only a fantastic heavyweight, he's an improving heavyweight. He's improving still. There's big fights out there. So the giveaways, sorry Tyson, the giveaways here are, Tyson knows his boxing. He's almost like a boxing historian. He loves the story of boxing. He's from a fantastic family of fighters through generations. You're going to tell me he's not going to unify those belts while he's still improving? If he was sort of dipping off and wasn't really much interest in him anymore. I mean, the guy's just sold out 94,000 seats at Wembley, done apparently about 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK alone, and he's getting better. Yeah, Tyson, of course, yeah, and I agree, it would be a high to go out on, but he knows the high to go out on here, and the high to go out on is to unify those belts.
Cool. Kalle Sauerland, it's been a pleasure. I know you've done so much media today. I am the last person. You can't chill because you're a promoter, and promoters don't chill. I'm surprised you get some sleep at night. But yeah, top man, thank you so much for talking to myself. Top man, thank you very much.